Okay, so I looked at a Celtic knot and wanted to figure it out myself. It was a very long process. So I'm showing you my process. I actually recorded it while I was figuring it out. And it begins with dots. And essentially you want the dots to look like the number 5 if you were looking at a die, right? Dice. If you were looking at just one, the number 5. That's how you want the orbs to be organized. So essentially it's every other is below. See, it looks like a 5. And I really recommend starting with pencil. And I normally don't say that. I'm going to show you with ink. Each of these lines you're going to draw, you're not going to connect the dots. You're going to go inside them each time, which you can see here. I'm inside the actual dots. And you don't have to worry about the dots being there even if they're inked, because we're going to color over them. So this is what the edges look like because they're round. So right now I am just putting dots above the border, around the border, and I really recommend just getting a piece of scrap paper and trying a very small version of it and then getting bigger, because I thought bigger would be easier and it was not. Now I do have a class of a smaller Celtic knot that I'll be probably putting up as a video. So here we are with our dots. Now I just drew 2 dashes to know when to start, and I began on the inside towards the bottom. I just picked a place. Now I'm going to round it. It looks like a J, and you can see I'm going around the orb, and then I'm going to go around the other ones. Now, this is just like Huggins. It's over under. But at the bottoms, on all the edges, you're going to want to round them, because that's how you're going to have them weave in and out of the actual knot, is on the outsides, they'll be rounded. And so all I can tell you is if you're looking at it this way, it's a J. And if it would be on the top, I guess it would look maybe like an R without the little thing on the left of an R is the best way. I decided to try and draw, or at least put numbers on what I did first, second, third, fourth. I only did up to 5 because then you start to repeat. So again, inside the lines, which normally we go outside the lines, right? But this time we're going inside. And so I just repeated the pattern, and you can see this is me actually thinking, how do I do this? I did a lot of erasing and moving the dots so that it would fit the way I wanted it to fit, which is what I recommend you do. Let the whatever you're creating work for you. You don't work for whatever you're drawing. And so now I'm going to round this one to go in. But remember, the edges and the corners are going to round. So just watch as I continue to do this. Now, the tops and the bottoms, when they round, they're rounding into each other, and you'll see that here. Every time I go up and over, it's going into the next rounded one. So just watch here for a bit. So these are essentially over and under, in and out, just like Huggins, right? One is going to make it look like it's above the other ones, kind of like a highway, right? Or an overpass. That's essentially what's happening, or a basket. These end ones, just like I said, if you flipped it upside down, they would be a J. And those, each of them go into the other one, so they turn into that weaved pattern. And once you wrap your mind around the pattern, that's when you can see it kind of started to click for me. Is I was, instead of trying to think of it as the end result, I was just realizing that I was just weaving them in and out, over and under. That's what really helped me to start to understand it. So that's what's happening here. So just keep following along. I'm just going over and under, and you can see all the rounded ones up at the top where they round. It looks like they're going into the next rounded one, but really they're going under it, and then it's starting that weave again until they round into each other. Now I'm going to show this process as I ink it. I just wanted you to see how it worked for me with a pencil first and how I had to move the original dots so that they would work. And this is me thinking what goes where. This is how I create new tangles. This is how I look at something and figure out how to untangle it, which is exactly what I'm doing. I'm figuring out how to untangle a Celtic knot so that I can figure out how to draw it for myself. So I'm giving myself my own instructions by untangling something that was already tangled or drawn. So keep watching this and I'll come back. So let's ink it. Again, I'm going inside the original dots that we drew, and I'm just going to be going over and under. Now I'm not going to focus on the pencil because I want to draw it the way the lines really want to connect versus the pencil. The pencil is just a guide mark of really what's happening, but you can see right now I'm going over the border line, and I'm just going to start connecting these. So it's best for me to not talk you through it because you're going to be able to see something that I'm not saying, and I want you to just watch the process. So this is going to be in real time. So enjoy watching me figure out how to untangle a Celtic knot, and I'll be back in a minute. Now this section here I altered for me because I wanted it to really curve in this corner so that the corner was done, but that actual part of the weave that it would connect to would be off the page. So I just made it work for me, and you can see what I do here to make it work. Now all of those spaces where the dots were, they're going to be inked. So I'm just taking, I think this is an 08 grabby pen, and I'm just filling those in. And then after that, I'm going to take a pencil. Once you have this drawn and get the idea of how it works, the over, under, and the curve around, you'll realize that they all connect to each other. And now I'm just going to take a pencil and I am going to put a really thick line of graphite on every line where it connects. Okay, so wherever they go into each other, I am going to put graphite. I'm going to do it one way, then I'm going to flip it and do it the other way, and then I'm going to take the tortillon and blend it. But remember, shading is your preference. Whatever you want to do, make it yours. I'm doing it this way to make it look like a weave pattern so that the centers of each of the weave pop and look as though they're off the page. So if you want to do it completely different way, that's fine. Shading is completely optional, and if you don't like what you're doing, have an eraser nearby so you can change it however you want to. But this is the basics of how it turned out. Remember, the light will make it shiny, so I show you in the light and then I turn the light off so that you can see a little more of the depth. And then I eventually end up taking this and adding lots more shading, lots more ink, and this is what it looks like in the light. And then you'll be able to see what it looks like when I turn the light off. When I turn the light off and it's just the daylight coming in. So here now I'm going to take this lovely tangle and put it in my hand and see the movement to it. So you can see no matter, everywhere you turn it, it's got a different look to it, right? And when I actually bend the tangle, which I love, this is how it shows that weaved pattern even more. But each direction you move your tangle or your drawing or your Celtic knot or whatever it is, they come alive. See, here is when I love it, when I just start to bend that and see those come alive. So don't forget to subscribe. Let me know what you thought of this, and it's okay to go outside the lines.